What's going on, everybody? Good morning. It's Matt, aka the Lumberjack Landlord. Super excited to be here with you on this fantastic Sunday. It's been a busy week. Oh my goodness. We had the live stream on Friday with Dion, which was an absolute blast, where we talked about evictions and rent control and all that fun stuff. And one of the things that I wanted to kind of talk about today was, did the market make you? So one of the favorite things for the crash bros and that kind of market to talk about is, did the market make you? And so if you just started in the last 2 years and you were just into flipping, it was kind of like any mistake that you made was glossed over by the fact that usually if it took you an extra 60 days to do the project, it didn't hurt you because the market only went up. So there is the case to be made that the market could have made you. That being said, if you've been doing this for 10 years, I can tell you the market didn't make you, because while the market's been up over the last 10 years, for a number of years, it was fairly stagnant. So 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, kind of that half a decade, rents were basically flat. There was really no movement. We still rehabbed our units so we could get higher than average rents in the area. And so I think what's really interesting is just kind of talking about this subject, which is, did the market make you? You will find that there are going to be real estate investors where this did in fact make them, because they made great money, unbelievable money for 2 years, where every single thing that they touched, they would buy it for $250 or $300. They'd put 50 or 100 into it. And even though they had originally budgeted 50, they spent 80 to 100, and it took them an extra 2 or 3 months. And they ended up making an extra $50,000 because the market went up that fast. So what's really interesting to also watch is, I'm a huge fan of Pace Morby's. I think Pace is absolutely the greatest combination of intelligence, sales ability, and ability to teach, to help folks understand concepts and what he's teaching. So I think he is second to none when it comes to what he really kind of teaches, and building teams, and doing sub two and a lot of that he teaches. I think what's really interesting is that obviously tons of street cred, absolutely fantastic. But we were sitting around yesterday. We were sitting around yesterday. And so we were flipping through the channels and saw Triple Digit Flip. So Triple Digit Flip is actually Pace and Jamil and his wife Laura, and Jamil's, I believe it's his sister or sister-in-law. And they're basically their flipping team. And so what was really interesting to watch was, in almost every single episode, and I had watched a lot of the episodes standalone, but in watching 3 of them, 2 or 3 of them back to, front to back together while I play with the kids, what I thought was really, really interesting was, first, that I have to mute my phone. But what I thought was really, really interesting was, it was like one house after another where they were buying the house for $300,000. And they had a budget of $65,000, and they would start rehabbing the house. They're saying, hey, 365, we believe that we can sell the property for 450. At 365, we believe we can sell it for 450 or 475. So they get their triple digit flip, i.e. 6-figure flip. So in watching that, I think that it was really kind of cool to watch, because it was 300 with a budget of 65. So it's 365, and then they can sell for 475. What was really interesting is, every single episode that I watched, we went over budget. So they didn't come in at the $60,000 or $65,000. They came in at $90,000. So some would say, well, so it's an extra 30 grand on a, $360,000 already all in price house. True. But when you go from a $60,000 budget to a $90,000 budget, and you basically increase your budget 50%, that's a lot. That's a lot. I can tell you, as someone who's flipped a number of homes, that's a lot. If any flipper consistently was 50% over budget, they will be out of business probably in the first 10 homes, kind of without a doubt, unless you were in a crazy market like we were for 2020, 2021, 2022. So let's take it the next step. The next step is, okay, well, while we held this house, the market was still going absolutely nuts, insane, and crazy in their particular market, which was kind of the Phoenix market, but it was going unbelievably crazy, crazy busy. If you see me rubbing my nose, it's because I'm trying not to sneeze. Because there's no fast way to take that camera. Actually, there is a fast way to take that camera off, I guess. But so let's finish that thought. So it was interesting to me watching it because they finished it. The original was 300, then with a $60,000 budget was 360, and then they would sell it for 460 or 475. What blew me away was that in the time that it took them, which is it added another maybe month or so to the timeline, what was really interesting to me is that it went from 360 now to 390. So now it was $390,000, but the sale price was no longer 475. The market had drastically moved up to 550. 550 from 475 to 550. So this is the explanation that I would give, obviously, in the market making you. Now, the market didn't make Pace Morby. So to a certain degree, it was things coming together at the right time, but him having the right message, him having the right skill set, him having second to none sales ability. But when we look at it, what we really look at is the market from a triple digit flip perspective absolutely bailed them out. It did, because again, $360,000 budget ends up at $90,000, a 50% increase in budget. So they're 390 all in now. They were going to be selling for 475 and minus fees and all that other stuff, yada, yada, yada. Although obviously, Pace's wife is one of the top realtors in all of Phoenix, because she's just that good at what she does. But I think the other last piece to that is, but everyone comes smelling like roses because of the market. So that's one of the things that I think that as you guys watch the market, as you guys do the math, this is why flipping and burring is absolutely an advanced strategy. The great ones, Pace is great, and he still made money on the property, right? But even if it hadn't gone up to 550, and even if he were still 390 in, and he had fees and blah, 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 it wouldn't have been a triple digit flip, but hey, he still would have made 50 or 60,000 bucks, which is a lot more than most people make in a year. So I just think it's one of those things that as you guys continue to go through your journey, as you guys continue to walk through and better understand what you're doing in the market, as you guys continue to look at other strategies to augment what your core strategy is, just be very, very, very careful, because Millennial Mike did a phenomenal video on his channel, which was, he actually talked to me about the thumbnail before he put it out, and I kind of dared him. I was like, I dare you to put that out. And to his credit, he did. But he ended up doing really, really, really well on one of his Burr projects. But if you look at it and you ask him, he'd even say that number came in way higher than I thought it would. So think about the strategy that you have. Think about the ability for one person, an appraiser, to absolutely torpedo your strategy, because you don't get the appraisal at 134 and you get the appraisal at 90. Oh, and then when you do, you're actually going to leave money behind in the house when you cash out refi. So the reason that I wanted to do this topic was because A, I'm a huge fan of Pace's. B is, in being a huge fan of his, I think it's important to recognize that not everybody is expert at everything, and that the market did prop up or certainly accelerate a number of investors in the market. Does that mean their entire business is bad? Of course not. Does that mean that they're going to go belly up? Nope, it doesn't mean that either. It does mean drastically compressed margins and drastically compressed returns. So where you were a business where you were making on average a triple digit flip on all your properties, 100,000, 100,000, 100,000, 100,000, and now they're 30,000, 40,000, 35,000. Well, now you're not going to do the amount of volume. You're not going to double that to make still less. You're likely not going to have nearly as much inventory to pull from because there's only so many of those homes where people are willing to let them go for that kind of number. Deals aren't infinite in certain areas. And so what it lends you to is you got to make sure that you're being an amazing, amazing operator. That's the quick segue also into, oh shit, I'm a landlord. Now what? That's the course that I've developed. I've put ungodly amount of time into this course. I asked so many of the people that I work with, what's the one most valuable thing for you? What's something that you struggle with? What do you think you need help with? And then I look back on my own journey and I said, these are kind of the 11 tenets of what I need to be able to do to become an elite operator. And then I need to get into the details of it. And then kind of the last step was recognizing that when you're new or newer or have only done things a certain way, often you don't see that there's the opportunity to drastically expand your business or change a few things and gain a ton of value. I put 20 plus years of my education into basically like 9 hours, maybe 10. I don't know what the final runtime is because it hasn't finished being edited, but we're like on the last video. So when I look at it, it really is amazing because I've had 2 or 3 people view some of the content and all 3 of them have had different opinions on what was most valuable to them. So I'm really excited, if you couldn't tell, to release the course. That happens actually this Tuesday. So I'm super, super excited to release the course. I'm so excited for you guys to go through it and experience it. I want honest feedback because the cool thing about this is we actually did it in a way where it's a subscription. And so that means that if you guys are on the course for the next year, as I continue to add content, you're going to get all of that. And so the reason we did 11 and not 12 modules is because I want the group to tell me what they think would be valuable to add to it. If I have experience doing it, which I likely do, I want to add that to it for folks. If I don't have experience doing it, guess what? I'm going to just open up that big old Rolodex and reach out to some folks. But one of the really cool things about the course, I've got 3 attorneys ready to come on, a roofer, a cider, electrician, a plumber. I've got a snowplow and tree guy. And so having all of these different expertise, it's great to be able to see it, talk it, ask questions. That's what the opportunity is going to be for those guys, for you guys to be able to get access to them. And that's going to be there in the course for you guys to have access to. We'll record it, but certainly we'll have those calls will be kind of probably about 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, where you guys will be able to ask those questions, and ask them live of people that aren't going to earn your business. They have no reason to misguide you or mislead you. They have no reason to sell you anything. And so it really is purely just, hey, this is what I would ask to make sure you're in the best position. I believe that this investment that you'll make in your business, not only being a write-off, but this investment that you'll make in education and education in your business, I think will have the greatest return of any money that you'll ever spend investing in yourself and investing in your business if you really truly want to be an owner, operator, landlord, and better understand how to keep your, quite frankly, how to keep your property manager honest. I'm a property manager's worst nightmare because I've likely done more things than they have. I want to turn you into that for your property manager. So even if you have a property manager, this is something that will absolutely skill you up where you can ask better questions and make sure that you don't get any of those bills that you shouldn't be getting. Because without exception, I don't know of any of my friends that use a property manager that haven't gotten at least a few bills that they had to question and were really disappointed about in the end.